everybody. This is Sherry at djsundry.blogspot.com, and I just want to take this moment to wish you a very happy new year. Now, I am doing a different type of a post for me today. I hope you enjoy it. I haven't done many videos like this, and it's a little bit crafty, a little bit more chatty. But I just wanted to share kind of from my heart, and then I hope you'll check out my blog. So, if you have been a follower for a long time, you have probably seen my journal. This is my journal that I made a long time ago, and I called it My Favorite Things. Like I said, I made it a very long time ago. In fact, I started it on January 1st, 2011. Now, obviously, I am a terrible journaler, or this book would be full. The videos that show how I made this are quite old. I'll try to find them and link them at the bottom of this video. But I started out, as we all start out things, and started out pretty well. And honestly, I probably didn't start this exactly in 2011 on the first day. It was probably a little bit longer after that, but that's when I started writing in it. So I've written through it through the years, and some fun things that we've done. So I picked it up last night or the day before yesterday or sometime recently and realized I hadn't journaled anything since about near the end of May. So obviously there's been a lot of things that have been added since the middle of May. So I just went through and I finished up and just kind of brought the year to a close so that I have a brand new start. And that's where we're going to start today. I am not a resolution person. I've never been really a New Year's Eve resolution. In fact, I'm not sure if I've ever really set New Year's goals. And I'm still not planning on setting goals this year, but I mean resolutions, but I am going to set some goals for myself. And those are personal goals. They're private. I'm going to show you my page in my journal and hope that you find a blessing out of it. But the Lord's really been showing me that there are some things I need to work on, both in my spiritual life, my private life, my family life, my personal life. And so this year I decided to set some goals. And so I wanted to bring up my journal to start this new year that in my town will be starting in less than an hour, and set some goals. So I got out my journal and I got out my gesso and I glued some of the pages together, and then these are some of the other products I used. I used my Distress ink in Seedless Preserves, Antique Linen, and Dusty Concord. I used my Distress marker in Dusty Concord as well. I had these 7 Gypsy chipboard alphabets, but there happened to be a few numerals in it as well. And so I used these. Now these aren't exactly the same colors, but by the time I got it all in there, it kind of fit together. So then I'm also using from Tim Holtz, I'm using this Papillion stamp set, and I actually used all of them except for this little one right here. I used both butterflies, and then I used the background just for some interest and some texture. And then I used my Tombow Mono Multi Glue, and I used a Zig 2-way glue and gesso, as I mentioned before. And then the part that I haven't quite finished, now I haven't written in my goals yet. I'm going to save that for a time when I have time to think a little more and pray a little more over the next couple days and get those put in. But I have my homemade metallic amethyst spray that I'm going to use, and my homemade perfect pearl spray, which is just water and perfect pearl. So that it doesn't add color, it just adds shimmer. Now after I put my metallic spray on, I may decide I don't want to use this one. We'll just see. So to start with, I brought up, now if you've seen my old videos, you know that I ink the pages, and this was no exception. Some of the pages were inked. When you get towards the back of my video, I haven't inked them. I kind of like it better not inked, especially this page was really dark, so when I brought up my journal today, I really had to be careful so that I could be sure and read it. I had to choose my pen wisely. But to start with, because I am going to add so much weight, I'll just show you what I did. I took 2 pages and glued them together here, and I did the same here, so that this is actually 2 thicknesses. And I would have liked to have gone 2 complete pages on either side to make it 3 thicknesses, but that would have put me running into my next printed page, and I didn't want to do that. So I started with that, and then I put 2 coats of gesso over the top of each page. And that was just because I wanted to hide whatever color inking I had done. I can't even remember what color it was now. But so I went over the whole thing with 2 pages of gesso. And yes, it's starting to curl a little bit, but that's okay, because once the book is folded, closed, and tied shut, those will start to flatten out. And so after I gessoed over the whole thing with white gesso, all I have is white, and you can see my fingers are all painted in white and a mess. But after I gessoed around that, and then I took the antique linen distress ink and my distress tool, and I distressed over the whole pack, and it kind of picked up some of the wrinkles a little bit, but it just took off that startling bright whiteness. And then I pulled out my stamp sets, and you can barely see it, and probably the place you can see it the best is up in this corner. I'm just going to check. Okay, good. I'm just making sure that's in the video. Up in this corner and then down in this corner are the most notable places where I took the background stamp from that stamp set, and using again the antique linen, I stamped over the top, and then I stamped off all over. So actually the whole background has the lettering, but it's very, very faint because I need to be able to see my letters. So then I took my Write Persimmon and I inked into the page a bit, and then I just barely inked into the page just a tad with the Dusty Concord, just barely around the edges. And then I picked up my Dusty Concord again and stamped this set of butterflies across the top and this set of butterflies across the bottom on this side, just to kind of pull my frame in. Then I used the Tombow Mono multi glue and glued down my numerals here. And again, they're not the exact same colors, but they're close enough in the same tones that I'm comfortable with the way they look. Unfortunately, my craft room is such a mess right now. I've lost most of my stickers that have numerals and letters on it, so I was kind of limited without pulling out the Cricut and what I could use, so that's why I chose to use these. Another option is if you had grunge board or grunge paper, you could die cut or use your Cricut and cut out numerals too. So that's what I did to start this off. Then I took my Dusty Concord pen and I set my categories. Now these categories were honestly put in here in a specific order, and the reason why is I felt what was most important, and I started with that. So the most important here are my spiritual goals. What does God want me to work on this year? And so that's where I will list these. The next, after my spiritual goals, come my family goals. What do I want to accomplish with my family, whether it's serious things or fun things? What do I want to accomplish with my family this year? And then I've got my personal goals here down in the bottom. Those are the things like, what do I want to do for myself? Not necessarily for me, but to make myself better, which will help accomplish these goals. For instance, what are my exercise goals? What are my fitness goals? What are my dietary goals? What goals do I have so that I can better meet the goals listed above? Then on the next page I have, what are my financial goals this year? What do I plan? What do I hope and pray that I can do with my finances this year? Obviously, way down on the list is the crafting goals. Why? Because quite frankly, I'm kind of an all or nothing sort of person, and I tend to let these things get all skewed up in the wrong order. And often my crafting comes before my family or even my spiritual. So I wanted to set these goals so that I would have them written down so that I could remind myself throughout the year. And then the last is other. Just as things come to mind, I'll just put them there, maybe if they don't fit into any of the other categories. So this is really going to be a work in progress. And why did I choose butterflies? Why did I choose a butterfly theme? Well, the answer is simple and not so simple. My family, my grandmother and my mother, I've mentioned in other videos, really like butterflies. I like butterflies, not to the degree that they do. So yes, there's a bit of a family memory tied with the butterflies, but there's something more important than that, and that's really why I set my goals, why I put them in there. And the butterfly is such a beautiful picture to me, a picture of new life. And you know, as we begin a new year, there's a lot of uncertainties out there for many of you, as well as for myself. Our country, we don't know where the financial state is going to be. It looks kind of scary right now. We don't know in our personal lives how that will affect us. Maybe you have an illness that you're dealing with, or maybe a major life change or a job change. That none of us really know what 2013 holds. But you know, the Bible tells us that that we need to be transformed into Christ's image. And you know, when I think of a transformation, I think of a butterfly. A butterfly starts as an ugly old piece of larva that goes to a caterpillar, which is not too pretty in my opinion, to this hanging down sack of a chrysanthemum, and when it emerges a beautiful butterfly. And that's what I want my life to reflect, the beautiful butterfly that is transformed into the image of Christ. So that's why I chose the butterfly. So to finish off my pages, I'm going to pull out my metallic ink spray and hopefully not make a big mess. I had it all shaken up earlier so that I could not have to shake it so much now, and I'm just going to come in and just kind of spritz it here. Now remember, with the distress inks, sometimes they the water will make them fade a little bit, and they'll take on new properties, and that's okay with me. That's fine. And so I'm just gonna spritz these, and I know this is messy. That's okay. I'm okay with that this year. I think I will pull in some of my other Perfect Pearls just to add some great shimmer in there. And then I'm going to have to clean up my desk after this, let me tell you. And then now it's just there to dry. And I'll let it dry, and then over the next few days and maybe even weeks, and who knows, maybe all year long, I'll be adding things to my goals for 2013. So how about you? Do you have goals that you want to set? Do you want to know more about the Lord? Do you want to become more like Him? What goals do you have? Feel free to drop me a comment either here or on my blog, here on YouTube or on my blog, and let me know what your goals are. So thanks so much for stopping by today. Have a happy new year, and remember, take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day.